Right over here at the right side of the map, Terminus Re is our Zerg player. He's incredibly strong. Most people say that his Zerg versus Terran is unbeatable. He is MVP's DongRaeGu. And down here at the bottom of the map is a player whose Terran versus Zerg is said to be unbeatable as well. He's won so many championships, it's actually ridiculous. He is Incredible Miracles MVP.
Yeah, MVP, a 3-time GSL winner. Great player, and you know, he even had a slight slump period, but was able to recover extremely quickly after that, and has always just been a really powerful Terran.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, a lot of these players who are like the top players in StarCraft 2 were Brood War players, and they, you know, didn't really do very well in Brood War. You know, like. A lot of the Code A players this season actually are old Brood War players. MC, you know, is an old Brood War player. Nesty, old Brood War player. And none of them were really very good at Brood War in the pro scene. MVP, he actually did well in the pro scene in Brood War. That's one of the reasons why he's been successful, is because he had a background of playing at a high level of real-time strategy. You know, this guy took a game off Flash in the round of 16 of a tournament once. Yeah,
that's actually really true. You know, anyone who's a Brood War fan knows about MVP, knows how good of a Brood War player he was. I mean, he wasn't like the best Brood War player. He wasn't the MVP of Brood War, but you know, he was a pretty good Brood War player. He was like the puzzle of Brood War. But it's true, yeah. The MVP's got quite a history with Brood War.
Yeah. Anyway, just point being, it's you know, he had kind of already a little bit of a skill advantage over some of the players he's playing against coming into StarCraft 2, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
And so, he's been doing quite well in StarCraft 2.
Well, MVP does scout the early hatchery, sneaks into the base. There's no answer for that SCV. The little SCV is going to be pesky. He's doing his morning exercises, two laps around the hatchery, home before dark.
2 laps around the hatchery. Do some push-ups, harass some drones.
Do some depot push-ups.
Exactly.
He actually is going to pressure with this first Marine. This is something that's becoming more popular to see. And usually this kills 1 drone maximum, but at the very least it makes it so that Zerglings are produced, and of course has to turn around.
Yep. Didn't quite get that drone. If he'd gotten that drone, it would have been well worth it.
Yeah. And it's just a scouting SCV that's out there. He's not even really losing mining time from it, so...
Uh-oh. Marine might get caught up to by these Zerglings.
Yeah, those Zerglings are getting close.
And he's in the meantime going for the reactor Hellion expansion. Pretty normal stuff. And oh, the Marine gets actually cornered against that little corner and killed by the 2 Zerglings with no damage done.
And DongRaeGu does smartly start a Spine Crawler back at home. He doesn't know for sure that it's going to be a reactor Hellion expand, but since there was only 1 Marine there, the Marine was not saved. He knows it's not a 2-rax. Yeah. He's got a good idea of what's going on. Exactly. Obviously, he scouted the gas as well, and always safe to make the 1 spine.
Yeah, it's become pretty much... It's like become even more than standard play. It's become like something that every Zerg does almost every game against Terran, is they just put that spine up at the front of their base almost without fail.
Yeah, and also they block the ramp with the Queen, so when the pressure comes, can't do anything. I love this by MVP. Why not poke the Queen, make her move a little bit on the ramp? Did take a poke from the spine, gotta be careful about that. But essentially, MVP's plan here is not to get lucky and kill a bunch of drones, but to control the map. He's got control of the watchtowers now. Yeah. He's got control of the creep spread that comes out.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes players will be like, well, why doesn't he just run in? There's a big gap between the Spine Crawler and the Queen. He can just run past, kill some drones. Well, to be honest, at this level, that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
If you try and do that, all you do is you lose your Hellions, and you might kill a few drones, yes. But you lose your Hellions, and then you lose your map control, and the Zerg's like, ha ha ha, now I can just take a third, and he actually is going to be able to poke in here a little bit more as this Spine Crawler takes some time burrowing.
That Zergling sees the command center. It's taken out. Well, back at home, MVP has actually added 2 barracks. He's added a starport as well. He's getting Blue Flame. Probably going to do some of that Hellion Marine drop action, where he can elevator his units up into the main of DongRaeGu.
Yeah, it's very, very good on this map.
Yeah, so it's actually the best map in my opinion to do this on, even better than Belcher Beach.
Baneling Nest and Evolution Chamber going down. DongRaeGu trying to prep himself for the mid-game.
Yeah, wants to get that Baneling Nest out more defensively than offensively. It does allow him to be aggressive if he chooses to. Stim is starting. No combat shields, of course, yet, because he's got just one barracks with the Tech Lab. He's going to be getting combat shields afterwards. He wants to get Stim first, to go along with the timing. He wants to use these dropships for now. DongRaeGu has finally gotten these rocks destroyed. He should be making a third base there, but he actually just started a macro hatchery, so he's going to have 2 hatcheries going up at once here. It's going to allow him a lot of extra production, and it looks like we are going to see that drop I was just talking about. And in fact, DongRaeGu has units to spot for this, but his queens are a little bit late. Here they come.
No, there's the Banelings morphing over here on the side, though. Zerglings running in. There's actually more than enough Zerglings to deal with this.
But the Hellions doing a lot of damage. The queens are the key here. They need to take out the dropship. Without that dropship, he does not have vision of the high ground.
Yeah, he needs to back up, though, for now, because a couple of his queens are very close to death. And the Hellions being ferried up into the main, it looks like.
And there are a lot of drones waiting to be roasted.
And here they come in. And the drone's lining up a little bit. But it looks like he's going to have to just escape with those Hellions. Oh, is he going to lose the medevac? Oh, so close.
2 shots away from death. Meanwhile, MVP has cleared his own rocks. He's taking a third base. DongRaeGu's macro hatchery is finishing. He's starting his 4th hatchery, which will serve as his third base. Now Stim is finishing for MVP. He's got a pretty large army. He kept his Hellions alive. He's got a tank out. He might actually try to push a little bit, do a little bit of damage to the third base, be a little bit aggressive. And of course, if DongRaeGu makes a lot of mutas, he's not going to have the Banelings he's going to want to defend that. So this is a really risky time for DongRaeGu. And in fact, he has started 10 mutas. Yeah, turrets are already on the way.
Yeah, MVP does play a pretty aggressive Terran versus Zerg style in general. He likes to put on pressure as much as possible, go for timing attacks, and really just move out all the time. And whenever he has the chance to, he'll probably wait for a couple more tanks is what I'm thinking. Because they want to have those tanks to fall back to with his Marines in case of Banelings.
Yeah, I think you're right. He is clearing up some Overlords with these Vikings to stop scouting. It also forces DongRaeGu, of course, to produce more Overlords, but it's going to stop because of these mutas. But another purpose of the Viking is that it will spot these mutas. And the Viking does get taken out.
You know what? He's actually going to have combat shields, +1 weapons, and siege mode about the same time. And I think that's the point where we're going to see MVP move out.
I think you're exactly right. These mutas are going to try to change that. He's going to try to use these mutas to keep MVP in his base. But does he have enough? Will he be able to make MVP turn around? That's going to be the question. Hellions force a cancel on a creep tumor, but
he loses 2 Hellions for it. Not the best trade there.
Not the best. Well, the third base of DongRaeGu is up, fully saturated. He actually has now all 6 gases taken. He's getting +2 Carapace right now.
I mean, some harassment with those Mutalisks, a very smart move. I mean, once you make those Mutalisks, you have to spend that investment. You have to use it. You have to do some harassment with them. They're not fighting units.
Yeah. Now, that one Hellion that escaped from the mutas earlier was up at the north part of the map. You guys didn't get a shot of it, but a drone tried to go up there and make a hidden base, but the Hellion killed it. So he denied a base, that Hellion.
And, I mean, again, we were talking about this earlier. The point of this harassment is to keep MVP in his base, keep him from being able to move out, because DongRaeGu is going to, you know, the Zerg player is going to do best when he can just macro up as much as possible, get as many bases around the map as they can.
Yeah, DongRaeGu is never over-committing to this harassment. He's just poking, killing a turret here, killing a turret there, damaging a command center.
He is actually one of the best at doing that, at not taking damage with his Marines. Oftentimes, Zergs will just stay around a little bit too long until the Marines start licking at his heels, and they'll take some damage from those mutas. DRG doesn't do that. He just does damage where it's free and then gets out.
Yeah, he actually does. He never goes, well, I need to get a key structure. He's like, well, I just damaged a reactor. That's all I want. Uh-oh. The Zergling's getting a little ahead of themselves here. Wants to attack with his entire army. The mutas, though, are coming into the main, trying to pull MVP back. And does overcommit just a little bit this time, but looks like he's going to get these Marines and the reactor.
And a medevac. Nice trade there. Very good attack. Doesn't even, you know, lose the Mutalist, just takes some damage. And escapes again and again. primarily what that did is draw MVP back into his base. Because MVP was moving out.
He was moving out, now he's all the way back into his main with all of his Marines. He's lost the watchtower now, and DongRaeGu maintains control. He's taking the top right base right now. And just like we were saying, I mean, I can't stress to you guys enough how correct the harassment of the Mutas is of DongRaeGu. Look at that. Kills a turret, killing some SCVs, is damaging this orbital, but
as soon as there's a Marine in sight,
gets out of there. Doesn't stay, doesn't try to kill a few more SCVs, just gets out of there. MVP is still at home, and he's like, well, I didn't kill that much, but I've achieved my goal. You turned around. Your units are still at home. That's what I want. And
DongRaeGu has managed to take that 4th base at the top of the map, by the way. He's just made about a little over a dozen drones to add to that base. He's going to be up over 80 drones at this point. Gets that reactor and leaves
Gets
again.
out.
Look at that.
No Mutas lost. Adrenal glands being researched right now for the Zerglings. He's obviously already got 2-1 upgrades for his Zerglings, starting +2 melee weapons for them right now. He's got 2 Carapace, +1 Carapace for Mutas is about to finish. He's already got +1 weapons, so his Mutas are going to be at 1-1. He's kept them all alive, and he is actually just looking so solid in this series right now.
Yeah, now MVP is macroing up really well, so he's actually staying even in supply with DongRaeGu, but DongRaeGu's just going to have such good stuff. He's going to have Adrenal Gland, plus he's going to have 3-2 Zerglings with Adrenal Glands. He's going to have 4 bases, and he has a Hive right now, which means he's probably going to start getting his Greater Spire if he hasn't already.
And I just want to go back to...
Look at that, called it.
Yeah, there it is, man. Starting right now. He's got an Ultralisk Cavern as well. He's getting chitinous plating.
Oh my gosh.
It all comes back to the fact that he made about 18 Mutas. He still has 14. He lost about 4 Mutas in total. That's it, though. So he hasn't had to spend any extra gas on the Mutas. His Mutalist count has always been fairly low, but it's still been enough to make MVP stay at home. And MVP is just now able to take a 4th base. DongRaeGu's got awesome units.
And there are actually 3 Ultralisks being produced right now. Remember, the patch just came out. Ultralisk build time was just reduced, so it's going to take only 55 seconds. And he's got some Infestors here. Doesn't even need to fungal those Marines, though.
Yeah, decides not to. I like that choice. Saves the energy. He knows MVP has got a better army than him right now as far as size goes, so he wants to make sure he can save that energy and just hold on a little bit longer. The Ultras are about to pop. Chitinous Plating is almost done. +3 Carapace is almost done as well. When all those upgrades finish, it's going to be pretty easy for him to engage, but he's just got to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, DongRaeGu has a lot of drones, which means that his economy is a lot better, so that means the key to this situation, hold that thought, Marines coming in, chasing those away.
Look at that, though. He doesn't really lose. He loses a total of literally 9 Zerglings there and forces MVP back yet again.
Yeah. What DongRaeGu is going to want to do, and here he goes in, trying to do it, going in with Banelings and Zerglings. The Mutalists are actually kind of clumped up, so they're all dying, but the Banelings get tons of hits, and he doesn't magic box his Mutas, so he loses all of them. But now, here's the thing, what I was actually about to say, is that DongRaeGu wants to trade armies and remax faster, and that's exactly what he did. He just built 84 Zerglings and 3 Ultralisks to remax his army immediately, and he took a 5th base at the same time.
Those Ultras are coming out, they have chitinous plating, they're about to have +3 Carapace, and so they're going to have 6 additional armor with those Ultras.
Oh my god.
And, of course, MVP does have +2 weapons for his infantry. It's actually +3 finishing right now. His tanks have +1, about to have +2. And even so, though, with that Ultralisk Carapace, those Ultras are going to be able to run through so much. The Zerglings have +3 Carapace as well. They can run a lot further. They can do a lot more damage with the Adrenal Glands upgrade, the +2 weapons upgrade. And here they go.
It comes in. The Ultras are going to take the damage in the front. Speedlings coming in from behind. They do have the Adrenal Gland upgrade, so they're going to kill things so much faster. Banelings coming in. Are they going to hit those Marines? No, they're not going to hit the Marines, but the tanks are exposed, as is the Orbital. I don't think he has enough Fungal stopping those in place. Another Fungal is going to kill most of those Marines, and the Planetary goes down to the Ultralisk Fire on the other side is the key to that entire battle, because now DongRaeGu is sitting at 6 bases, and MVP is mining from 2.
And guess what, man? He's got a much larger army already, and he can remax so much faster. MVP is making 4 Marines and 3 Ghosts right now. Getting Cloak out, this is something he's really going to want to have, but the problem is, you can see his production is quite limited. He doesn't have a lot of money right now. He's going to do a drop here, try to even things up. It's a pretty huge drop. He's going to try to go for the spawning pool by the looks of it, but these Ultras are going to help clean up as well as that Baneling.
Clutch Ultralisks popping out of that hive at just the right moment. able to help clear up. And DongRaeGu doesn't even care about that drop, man. He's like, I'm just going to actually go for your front and break you once and for all.
He's just going to continue to attack because he can trade so efficiently. He knows if he does not have 20.
Oh,
beautiful
bungle on everything. Stopping it in place. The splash damage of the Ultras doing so much damage.
And there's no answer for this attack.
No, this is going to be the end for MVP. 60 supply up. DongRaeGu has giant monsters in his base that he can't do anything about. And we're going to see GG any moment now.
Yeah, I mean, DongRaeGu is just rallying more units. And the drop, though, is still doing some damage in the main base of DongRaeGu. He's actually been able to take out a hatchery, but Broodlings are doing a lot of damage, cleaning up some of these Marines. And eventually those Marines are going to finally fall.
It's interesting when both players have level 3 armor, it takes a lot longer for battles like that to happen.
Yeah.
But here we go. Ultra's pushing up. MVP GG's, and DongRaeGu has just...
He 2-0'd him, man.
He's just 2-0'd MVP. He has just broken through the immovable object. He says, my force is actually more unstoppable.
Well, I like what he did in that fight at the Planetary. He split his Ultras into 2 groups. He had the damage-dealing group for the Planetary, and he had the other group that tanked. The Zerglings actually did the majority of the damage in that fight. And then when the Banelings rolled in, that was when the Ultras actually did their damage, because the Banelings rolled in, he was like, well, I have to pull all my Marines back. And at that moment, the Marines weren't doing damage to the Ultras, so the Ultras were killing the tanks. And when the tanks were gone, the Banelings did the damage to the Marines, and MVP couldn't micro back forever.
Yeah, I mean, Marines, you wouldn't think it, but Marines are actually very good against Ultras, even with their armor upgrade, because when they stim, they just do so much damage that, sure, the Ultras, if left to their own devices, will kill Marines very, very efficiently, but they just die so fast to the Marine fire, it doesn't do as much good. So forcing the Marines back with the Banelings meant that the Ultralisks had that time to actually do their damage, getting close on the tanks, and even things up. So, very, very strong play from DongRaeGu. He's going to take a lead in this group. Now, Huck is going to be our third player. He's going to be playing against MVP next. World Championship round of 16. July, Code S round of 16. August, Code S round of 8. This guy is one of the best few Protoss in the world, actually, despite being a quote-unquote foreigner. So, he is very, very strong. Coming off a little bit of a confidence debooster. What would be a debooster? What does that even mean? Anyway, he's had some trouble recently against Terran players. I guess I'll put it that way. So he might not be feeling the best here, but we're going to find out in just a second who's going to win game number 1 between Huck and MVP.